Welcome to the deep dive. We like to cut through the noise, get right to the heart of the matter. Today we're doing a deep dive into the world of big data. We're using this essay by Jörg-Owe.
Great essay.
Really lays it all out. And, when you hear big data, you might be thinking, oh, isn't that just a buzzword for like tech folks?
Right.
But it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
We're talking about the 2.5 quintillion bytes of data that are generated every single day.
It's massive. It's hard to even fathom that amount.
Yeah. What comes to mind for you when you hear big data?
Well, it really is transforming everything. You think about like how we shop to how doctors diagnose diseases. We're really living in a world built on information.
Right.
And it's just constantly evolving and changing.
Okay, so let's unpack some of the basics here.
Yeah.
Schneepat highlights these 5 V's that really define big data. You got volume, velocity, variety, veracity, and value.
Right. It sounds like a mouthful, but it's actually a really helpful framework for understanding it.
Yep.
Take volume, for instance. We're not just talking about a lot of data. We're talking about an almost unimaginable amount.
Yeah.
But it's not just about size. You think about the velocity, the speed at which this data comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine you're a financial analyst. You're trying to make real-time decisions.
Right.
Based on stock market data that's changing every millisecond. The speed is incredible.
Yeah.
And it can make all the difference.
And then there's the variety.
Right.
It's not just neat rows and columns in a spreadsheet anymore.
Nope.
You got text messages, videos, social media posts, sensor readings from your smartwatch.
You name it.
Yeah.
It's a wild mix.
And that wild mix brings us to veracity.
Right.
How do we know that the data we're relying on is actually accurate?
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you think about a self-driving car that's using sensor data to navigate traffic, if that data is flawed, the consequences could be disastrous.
Yeah.
So veracity is really important.
Yeah, so we've got this massive amount of data coming in at lightning speed.
In all sorts of formats.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure it's accurate. But what's the point of all this?
Well, that's where the value comes in.
Right.
Raw data is meaningless unless we can extract meaningful insights from it.
Okay.
It's about turning data into knowledge into action, and action into results.
So let's take a quick trip down memory lane.
Okay.
Schneepat touches on the history of big data, and it's actually pretty fascinating.
It is.
To see how far we've come.
Yeah.
Think all the way back to Herman Hollerith in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Developed a machine to process census data using punch cards. It seems rudimentary now, but it revolutionized data processing at the time.
Yeah, it was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It's like the Model T of big data.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think how something from so long ago paved the way for what we have today.
Yeah.
But you fast forward a bit, World War II, the British developed Colossus.
Right.
The first programmable electronic computer to break German codes.
And that was a pivotal moment, really highlighting the potential of computers to analyze vast amounts of data and extract valuable insights.
And then boom, the World Wide Web explodes onto the scene in the late 1980s, and suddenly data creation goes into overdrive.
Yeah, it's like someone hit the fast forward button on the whole process.
Yeah, and with this explosion of data came the need for new tools and technologies to manage it.
Right.
And that's where things like distributed computing come in.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've heard that term thrown around.
Right.
What exactly does it mean?
So imagine you have this massive data set.
Okay.
Too large for a single computer to handle. With distributed computing, you break that data down into smaller chunks, and you distribute it across multiple computers. It's like having a team of chefs working together to prepare a huge banquet.
Okay.
Instead of one chef trying to do it all alone.
So it's all about teamwork, even in the digital world.
Exactly.
And what about the cloud? That seems to be a big part of the big data picture, too.
Oh, absolutely. The cloud has been a game changer.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on these physical data centers, cloud storage allows us to store and access data online. It's scalable, it's flexible, and it's relatively inexpensive.
Makes sense.
So it's been really transformative for businesses and organizations of all sizes.
So we've got all this data stored in the cloud, but how do we actually make sense of it?
Right.
I imagine it's like trying to find a needle in a digital haystack.
It can feel that way.
Yeah.
And that's where data management tools come into play.
Okay.
These are specialized software programs. They're designed to help us clean, organize, analyze, and visualize data.
Okay.
They help us transform that raw data into something meaningful and actionable.
So it's like having a set of power tools for your data.
Exactly. They help us sift through the noise and extract the signal, revealing patterns, trends, and insights that would otherwise remain hidden.
This is all incredibly fascinating. But I'm curious, what about the cutting-edge stuff?
Yeah.
Schnepp mentions emerging technologies like blockchain and smart contracts. What role do they play in the world of big data?
Well, blockchain is essentially a secure and transparent way to record and track data. It's like a digital ledger that everyone can see, making it incredibly difficult to tamper with or alter.
Okay.
This could be a game changer for things like supply chain management or tracking medical records.
This is all about trust and transparency.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
And then you have smart contracts, which are basically self-executing agreements based on predefined rules written in code.
Okay.
Imagine a scenario where a shipment triggers an automatic payment once it reaches a certain destination. This is all made possible by smart contracts.
Wow, that sounds like something out of a science fiction movie.
I know.
But it's actually happening right now.
It is. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
We're only scratching the surface of what's possible with big data and these emerging technologies.
This is all incredibly exciting, but I can't help but wonder about the potential downsides.
Right.
With all this data being collected and analyzed, aren't there ethical considerations we need to be thinking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As our reliance on big data grows, so too do the ethical implications. We need to be having some serious conversations about data privacy,
Right.
algorithmic bias, and the potential for misuse of this information.
So it's not just about the technology itself, but about how we use it
Right.
and the impact it has on our lives and society.
Exactly. It's about ensuring that big data is used responsibly and ethically to benefit humanity, not to exploit or manipulate.
Well, that certainly gives us a lot to think about. We've covered a lot of ground so far.
Yeah, we have.
From the fundamental concepts of big data to the history, the technologies, and even touched on some of the ethical consideration.
And we're just getting started.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore in the world of big data.
There is.
But before we continue, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve into some real-world applications of big data and how it's already changing the world around us. Stay tuned.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so we've laid the groundwork, explored the history and the tech, but let's get real here. How is big data actually showing up in your world?
You know, think about the last time you shopped online. Those personalized recommendations you see,
Oh, yeah?
that's big data in action.
Right.
Companies are using your browsing history, your purchase patterns, even social media activity to predict what you might be interested in buying.
So it's not just about like targeted ads.
Right.
It's about creating like a more personalized experience.
Exactly. It's about understanding individual preferences and tailoring those experiences accordingly.
And sometimes those recommendations are spot on, I gotta admit.
It's amazing.
It's kind of creepy.
It can be a little creepy, but this data-driven approach, it's not limited to retail.
Right.
It's transforming healthcare in some pretty incredible ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Schnepp talks about how wearable tech and personalized medicine are revolutionizing healthcare. I mean, we're talking about using data from fitness trackers, smartwatches, even implanted sensors to monitor patients' health in real time.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where doctors can predict and prevent health issues before they even arise based on your unique data profile. Yeah.
We're not quite there yet,
Right.
but we're moving in that direction.
That's incredible. It feels like we're on the cusp of like a whole new era of personalized medicine. But what about the financial world? I bet they're using big data in a big way too.
Absolutely.
Right.
I mean, think about fraud detection.
Right.
Banks and financial institutions, they're using sophisticated algorithms to analyze transaction patterns, identify potential fraud in real time.
So it's like having like a digital detective constantly monitoring your accounts for any suspicious activity.
Pretty much. It's pretty reassuring.
Well, reassuring, yeah.
And it's not just about security. Big data is also driving a lot of innovation in the financial sector. Think about personalized financial products and services tailored to your specific needs and risk tolerance.
So instead of a one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
we're moving toward like a more individualized financial experience.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the role of big data in scientific research.
Oh, yeah. Scientists are using these massive data sets to make breakthroughs in fields like genomics, climate modeling, and drug discovery.
It's mind-boggling to think about like the sheer volume of data
Oh, yeah.
involved in these research projects. It's like trying to map the entire human genome
It's massive.
or model the Earth's climate.
And it's only going to get more complex
Yeah.
as we generate even more data.
Yeah.
Which brings us to some of the challenges that Schneppat highlights in his essay.
Right.
Data quality, for example.
Yeah.
Paramount. If we're making decisions based on inaccurate or incomplete data, the consequences can be pretty significant.
Just like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the issue of data security.
Right.
With all this sensitive information floating around, protecting it from cyber attacks and breaches is absolutely crucial.
Especially as our reliance on like data-driven systems grows, right?
Absolutely. And then there's the challenge of integrating data from so many different sources.
Yeah.
It's like trying to piece together this giant jigsaw puzzle where the pieces are constantly changing shape.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It can be, but despite these challenges, the future of big data is incredibly exciting.
Okay.
Schneppat points to some really interesting trends on the horizon.
Yeah.
Edge computing, for instance.
Oh.
It's all about processing data closer to its source,
Okay.
which can significantly reduce latency and improve efficiency.
So instead of sending all that data to like a central server,
Right.
we're processing it right there at the edge of the network.
Exactly.
What are some like real world examples of that?
Think about self-driving cars.
Okay.
They need to make split-second decisions based on real-time sensor data.
Right.
Edge computing allows them to process that data locally without having to rely on a round trip to a distant server.
That makes sense. It's all about speed and responsiveness, especially in like critical applications like that.
Exactly.
What else is on the horizon?
Well, quantum computing is another really exciting area. Has the potential to revolutionize everything from drug discovery to material science by enabling us to solve problems that are currently intractable for even the most powerful supercomputers.
Okay, that's getting a bit beyond my grasp, but it sounds incredibly powerful.
It is. It's potentially very powerful.
So where does this all leave us? We've explored the past, present, and future of big data, and it's clear that this is a rapidly evolving field with enormous potential. But as Schneppat's essay suggests, it's not just about the technology itself, but about how we use it and the impact it has on our lives.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Big data is a powerful tool, but it's up to us to ensure it's used ethically and responsibly to benefit society.
Right.
We need to be mindful of the potential risks and challenges while also embracing the incredible opportunities that it presents.
Well said. And as Jörg-Owe Schneppat so eloquently puts it in his essay, the future of big data is not predetermined. It's being written right now in every byte of data that's generated, processed, and analyzed. Yeah. So I guess the question is, what role will you play in shaping that future?
That's a great question to ponder.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we should all be thinking about.
Absolutely. And with that thought-provoking note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of big data. Big thanks to Jörg-Owe Schneppat for giving us so much to think about today. His essay really does a great job of laying out the complexities of big data.
It really does. And I think the key takeaway here is that big data is more than just a tech trend. It's a force that's shaping our world in profound ways, and it's something we all need to be aware of.
Absolutely. Whether you're a business leader, a healthcare professional, a scientist, or just someone who uses the internet, big data is impacting your life in ways you might not even realize.
And as we move further into this data-driven age, it's important to stay informed, ask questions, and be mindful of the ethical implications.
Well said. So to our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this vast and ever-evolving world of big data. It's a complex topic, but hopefully we've shed some light on the key concepts, the challenges, and the incredible opportunities that lie ahead.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about big data, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this exciting and sometimes daunting digital landscape.
So stay curious, stay informed, and until next time, happy data diving.
Yeah.
So much to think about. Big thanks to Jörg-Owe Schneppat. His essay really does a great job of laying out all the complexities of big data.
It really does. And I think the key takeaway here is that big data is more than just a tech trend or a buzzword.
Right.
It's a force that's shaping our world in profound ways. And it's something we all need to be aware of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Whether you're, a business leader, a healthcare professional, scientist, or just someone who uses the internet, big data is impacting your life.
Yeah.
In ways you might not even realize.
Yeah. And as we move further into this data-driven age, I think it's, really important to stay informed, ask questions, and be mindful of the ethical implications.
Well said. So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of this vast and ever-evolving world of big data. It's a complex topic, but hopefully we've shed some light on, the key concepts, the challenges, the incredible opportunities that lie ahead.
And remember, knowledge is power. The more you understand about big data, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this exciting and sometimes daunting digital landscape.
So stay curious, stay informed,
Okay.
and until next time, happy data diving.